All right, that's one. Let's go ahead and kick things off and start the record.
Okay.
You can hit
Yeah, yeah. All
play
right,
on
we're
Sora.
and we're good. All right, let's sit back and watch this.
And you can turn it down, or you don't have to play the audio. You can play it for a second, but
Yeah.
I wanted to kind of talk over it a little bit. But just so everybody knows, if you haven't seen this video yet, this is text to video that is Sora from OpenAI. It is not available to the public yet. I believe who made this is maybe a design firm or something where they got or maybe early access and they're just showing off um, kind of like what you can do by putting together various clips to try to make a scene like this. That's why it looks different each time. I saw some comments from some people making some jokes like, maybe one of the reasons they used a balloon head is because there's no control of the person if you made a whole bunch of different scenes and you try it. So they were joking about like way to pull it off. It is one of the most well put together. There's a lot of other videos that Sora has on their blog that features a lot of stuff, and this is actually one of the best ones. It was well done. But to be something
Yeah.
is not
Okay.
out in the market and is still kind of like an alpha stage. It's pretty interesting to see how far it's gotten.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off of that, later on in some future webinars, I'd like to talk about um, brands like agencies using AI tools and doing something clever and unique and understanding that there's still a human element to this. Like even going back to somebody had to think about that script, what that message is, what is it really about?
Hmm.
Which is that's the part where it's the human element that can get us there with these AI tools. And then I'm a filmmaker, so to be able to shoot this. And know that it wasn't shot and it's very mind blowing. And like I just cannot believe that we're going to be able to do that in a sense to kind of further brands and their stories and things like that. So, but even going back to like somebody had to think about that, and then I had 2, 3 weeks ago I did a storyboard. So somebody storyboarded that probably and had to get the prompts,
Hmm.
accurate. So really cool to see that and the potential where it's going to go.
Yeah, yeah, it'd definitely be neat, possibly for some some filler content early on,
Yeah.
for different clips or movies or commercial stuff. I mean, I think about it with like some of the stuff I'm going to be showing with Midjourney right now, where you could use some of this imagery that you can create with AI as replacement for stock photography, where you're just needing like generic shots or something where you don't have to have a product in it right now. Um,
Mhm.
this could be the same thing for footage, and you think how much more stock footage is, especially good quality, especially like exactly what you're wanting. There's not nearly as much of it. It's a higher cost. So to me, you know, not doing videography, but for you, I feel like there's a bigger opportunity there. So it'll be interesting to
Yeah.
see.
Yeah. And
We got
I'll
more
probably
ways to go.
yeah, I'll probably add on some questions at the very end about what you just said about using Midjourney and stock um, clips and
Mm,
for imagery because we in the brand world and design world we run into that issue all the time, and that's one of the powers of Midjourney and ChatGPT or DALL-E
yeah.
that's really going to push us forward, and it's getting better, which is pretty cool. And you're going to show that anyways, but welcome everybody to Unlock the Power of AI. This is volume 6. I'm Carlos Manriquez, and we have Nathan Maxwell here. Just beautiful Friday. It's sunny here. I don't know where it is, where you are, but hopefully you guys are having a good day, good Friday, and productive and things like that. So we're super pumped that you guys are here. Um, Again, I'm Carlos and he's Nathan. I think you've seen this slide, but for those that haven't, um, you can ping us on LinkedIn or anything like that. And for further conversation, we'd love to just talk to people about AI and tools like that and where you are within your workflows or use it in your personal life.
Yeah.
again, just before we start, there are some limitations. AI is still new. I was talking to Debbie about that. It's like, it's we're scratching the surface. I know that Dolly's about to hit a year now, or ChatGPT, but every day it's a game changer. Every day we see something new. We're trying to stay on top of it, and trying to, network with people that know it better than us, and just trying to distill that down and come to, this hour and try to see what we can do to help people out within, their journey, where they are in their business, or, their careers, or again, just personal things. So there's a lot of ethics behind it, and just make sure that whatever you produce out there is, it's fun for right now. So, but if you use it for brands or in your company, just make sure you fact check it and back check it, to make sure it's good quality.
Yep. Should we flip over to me sharing here?
Yes.
Okay. You guys give me just a moment. I will do desktop and all right. See if I can get my little window minimized here. All right. And I'm going to jump right into full slide. All right. So you just went over this. On the next slide, y'all talk a
Yeah.
little bit about what Amazon's doing with Anthropic. Yeah, I think this is a pretty big announcement and that I wanted to talk about today. Um, Amazon had already invested a good bit with Anthropic previously. And after I think it was announced yesterday, they're up, they're concluding a total of 4 billion. This is a big deal and of where Anthropic is going. I mean, where Amazon's going with this. And if you're not familiar with Anthropic, they are the ones that make Claude. And Claude is currently touted as the number one, just edging above GPT-4. So it's really interesting to see this. You've got the big guys out there, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, OpenAI, just all these people just kind of racing to the top to try to get a hold of what they can do. I'm curious because it was just last week we were talking about how Apple is in discussion with Google for Google Gemini, which is their AI model, which they may use for things like Siri. So it makes me wonder, is Amazon about to put the Alexa device and have the backbone of Claude running on it now? So that's kind of what I think might be in the future, maybe near future for us. So that's kind of interesting. Carlos, I don't know if you had any other feedback on this topic, but I just wanted to talk about that. I thought that was some big news, and it's funny how like every week there's something like this happening in this industry, which is just a sign of like how quickly things are
Yeah.
moving. And
Yeah. Sorry, Nathan.
no, go ahead.
No, it's just what I just said earlier was like it's like a race to the top. It's like Russia and US trying to get to the moon. Let's pour a bunch of money into rockets, rocket fuels building, and things like that. We can see that somebody wants to be on top, and to see something like Amazon making that investment is just game changer. There's going to be a lot from it, and that's going to help us all out.
Yep. I don't know if this video will play. If it doesn't, that's fine. But let me see if it will. I set it up to where it would.
At that.
Yeah.
I think we like
So
milestones too. If
this
something
is
happens, I'll say declare victory on this one and go start the next
Sam
thing.
Altman
But,
getting
but
questioned
yeah, I feel
about
like we're somehow getting this a little bit
ChatGPT
wrong.
5.
So, when is GPT-5 coming out again?
I don't know. That's an honest answer.
Oh, that's the honest answer. Is it blink twice if it's this year?
I also
All right. So I want to just play a little bit of that. It's kind of funny. The big thing is definitely check out that video if you haven't. I'll go back to that for a second. It's the Sam Altman, Lex Friedman. If you're interested, it is a 2 hour long video. There is a lot of like inside stuff that they talk about that I don't really know what's going on, but there's a lot of really interesting stuff, like how fast some of this stuff is moving. And that was just a little clip from where he was joking about when GPT-5 is coming out, and there wasn't any. He's not giving any kind of heads up on when that's happening. So, all right, so let's hop into the agenda today. Super excited about what we're going to be showing with Midjourney. So this is the first time we're going to be doing more kind of image generation. I think I touched on it maybe a few weeks back, but this is going to be the big deep dive, and I'm going to make a little bit more of a series of this. I might do as many as 4 or 5 if there's enough interest. Um, what Midjourney and DALL-E is doing, it's definitely right in the middle. It's using AI, um, and it's generated imagery and with text to images, and that's what I'm going to be showcasing today. So really interesting what's happening. We'll start with Midjourney versus DALL-E 3, which is running on ChatGPT. I'll kind of show the differences of that and some of the best use cases for each one. And then if you guys have any questions, I just want to iterate this. And Carlos, I won't be able to see the chat as I'm going through some of this, but just
Yeah.
pause and let me know if there's any questions or something that people want to see, because I do want this to be interactive if you guys have questions. Then I'm going to show some examples, a lot of examples today is what the majority of what this is going to be, which is going to be Midjourney text to image prompts. And then I'm going to start to show a little bit of the parameters I'm using. I don't want to get too detailed in that. And then I am going to show what I'll call a cheat sheet that Doug and Earl made. Definitely want to shout out to him. I saw that online that he tweeted it out a few weeks ago, and I thought it was a really good. I know what most of these things are, and I don't need something to reference, but if you don't, this is a great sheet to kind of like just print out and have with you, because it really outlines all the different parameters that you can use. And it's what makes Midjourney so much more powerful than anything else that's out there today. And then we'll get into Q&A sessions. So um, let's talk about Midjourney and DALL-E. And I went ahead and pulled a couple sample images here that I'll show you some of the prompts and how I created them. But I used the exact same prompt, plugged it into Midjourney, and then plugged it into DALL-E, and then made it the highest resolution I could in each one of those systems. And then I put the image resolution here so you're aware. You can right out of the gate, I think everyone can kind of see the drastic differences between these two systems right now. There are sometimes you can get a little bit better, I'll call it realistic look from DALL-E, but for the most part, Midjourney's kind of a couple versions ahead. That image that DALL-E 3 is doing right now is kind of where Midjourney was last, spring, and I'll show a little bit of that in their transition. So they're definitely moving far, far ahead very, very quickly. The other thing that Midjourney does right now is they do 4 images at a time. Any of you who were around DALL-E at the very beginning when you'd use GPT or Bing Chat to talk with it, it would do a 2 to 4 image up option. I guess it maybe was just burning too many tokens and putting too much pressure on the servers. And it only generates one at a time now. So that's a big drawback, because if you really are trying to do this for work related stuff and not just fun, it can get pretty painful if you can only generate 1 image at a time versus 4. The other advantage of Midjourney is you can sequence a whole bunch of I guess reruns in a row and at a time. So it is a paid service. I think the lowest one is $10 a month, I believe. I'm using like the $30 a month version, and it gives me like 15 hours of, machine time, but you can run it in what's called relaxed mode. And in a mode like that, it's as many as you want to run. It's just a little slower. So sometimes I find like at night or early in the morning, the relaxed mode is fast because there's not a lot of users on it. Certain times of the day are worse than others. So just to kind of give you some compare and contrast between the two. Another thing, Midjourney has a lot of other features, which I'm going to showcase a little bit of those today. You can do things like zoom out. You can pan up, right, left, down, all over. You can do in painting. I'm not going to show, probably not going to dive into some of those features this time, but I'll get into those in later sessions. In DALL-E, using ChatGPT, you can do like what I'll call prompt rewriting, where you can say, like in this picture here of this guy wearing this like gray hoodie, I could just reply back into the chat of ChatGPT and say, can you now make his hoodie red? Can you can you shave his beard off, or can you add glasses? So you can kind of have this like prompt addition. And what it does is, behind the scenes, all ChatGPT is doing is it's going back into the original prompt and it's just kind of adding what you're saying, but it feels more like you're asking it and having this conversation about it. Um, but it is a little easier. I would say DALL-E is probably less, it's a little easier to get where most people want to go sometimes, in creating an image or whatever they want to do. I think sometimes I find people kind of gravitate to it because it's easier to use, where Midjourney, you might find, takes a little bit more practice to kind of get the hang of like control. But I'll showcase some of that today, and hopefully help people understand a little better like how to use each one. So I think what I wanted to do, yeah, before I get into that, I want to show an example side by side. So I prepped, Carlos, are you still able to see my full screen?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure. So real
Yep.
quick here, I've got the exact prompt that I used to make the one I was just showing you guys. Street photography portrait, extreme close-up. The subject is a 45-year-old man. He's in a thinking expression, beard stubble, wearing a gray acid wash hoodie, gray beanie, sharp focus, set against a black concrete wall. And if I jump back over, that depicts this pretty well. So I've got the same prompt, and I'm sorry, y'all. I'm traveling today and I'm working off my laptop, so my screens are a little squished. Um, I'm gonna go ahead and start this. This is ChatGPT and ChatGPT 4. So this is with DALL-E. So this is the paid version of ChatGPT, about $20 a month. And I'm gonna hit go. And you can say like, make an image. Oh, this is great. Does that happen every time, Carlos? I think it does. I usually
Yeah.
prep all my prompts in here ahead of time, and I think it just times out or something. All right, so this is making the image. While it's doing that, I'll go ahead and do the same thing over here in Midjourney. By the way, I am in Midjourney Alpha, and I do want to mention that because most people, if you're using Midjourney, you are possibly you've heard like you've got to use Discord, and a lot of times I will definitely say that that made it a lot harder for me. Um, we are probably only a few weeks away before Midjourney releases alpha completely to the public, whether you've generated 0 images or 100,000 images. Right now, as of today of me doing this video, Midjourney Alpha, which is the new web version, is not available to anyone unless you've already generated over 1,000 images in Midjourney. I'm somewhere above like 50,000. So I was on it many months ago because they've lowered it each week that goes by, and they're announcing right now that they're about to release it to where it's open. But just want to let you know that as a preface. But within a week or two, it won't matter. I really didn't want to show the Discord side just because this is so close to being out. There is another version that's called just midjourney.com that you can still do stuff from the web-based, but the alpha version is coming out soon. Okay, no more about that. So here we go. This is DALL-E, and this is the image with the same prompt. And then these are the 4-up images that we have that have come through. And you can definitely see the difference of the two. So this isn't even upscaled yet. So this is just the default that Midjourney outputs at this point. And then I can upscale it one more time. So right now, these two images are kind of possibly the same resolution. But once I run another upscale on this one, by this stuff's in the way. I can run like an upscale subtle, and I'll go ahead and run that just by clicking that button. And what it'll do is it'll run a higher resolution version of it. And what it'll do is it'll start to like even get more detailed. I usually find that the upscale will actually it reruns it again and gets a whole lot finer tune detail. So especially if you're using it. Sometimes this version right here, for the most part, is pretty good for most web purposes. But if you're going to do some Photoshop edits to it, or you want to, do some other stuff, it changes it from like 1,000 pixels wide to like 2,000. So it definitely bumps it up a bit. So I don't think I have to ask everybody which one's better or more realistic. If you want this kind of, I don't know, shiny, plasticky, it looks like maybe a high resolution game I'm playing, then, this works, but it just doesn't look real, obviously. And I have seen some people pull off, do some photography stuff out of DALL-E 3, but most of the time, this is kind of how it works. Let's go into a couple examples here, though, where I'm going to say, um, make his beanie. What did I say? I had uh, gray beanie. Yeah, so I'm going to say make his beanie yellow and make the hoodie white. Oh, I spelled that wrong. There we go. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here, except this time I'm going to pull the prompt back up into Midjourney, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make the wearing a acid wash hoodie. I'm just going to say a white hoodie. And where it has gray beanie, I'm going to say yellow. I'll leave all the other settings the same. So you can see like I was able to, it almost got it. I don't know why it did this like weird two-tone thing, but a little bit different look, but it did it pretty quickly and you're able to get, kind of a new. So that's what I mean by that. You can kind of reprompt it again. Again, I could just say, wearing a mustache, or I could say with, make his eyes blue. And let's see what's happening here. So it's generating, it's 96% complete in Midjourney, and it's done. So we've got he looks very sad. I don't know why he's so sad. Let's make him happier. I'll say of a very happy man. Oh, there it is. It's thinking expression. Never mind that. I forgot I had his expression already in here. He is very happy. White hoodie, yes. We'll run that again. Go. Okay, so we got the blue eyes. Kind of creepy. Oh, they're almost like kind of neat looking, but again, not as realistic. Obviously, unless that's the look that you're going for and that's what you're needing. But in this, almost most of the stuff I'm going to show today is not a lot of artistic style. I'm going to show a lot more photography style. So I want to make that clear too. Midjourney and DALL-E can do some really creative stuff too. And but I'm not going to showcase any of that today. That probably in some future episodes I will. And here's Midjourney working on this one here. And he looks so much happier, much better than this guy. But I could do, I could change the background color. I could do some other things to it. So let's take this one a little bit more. So I think I kind of have, I don't know if anybody else had something. Carlos, did you have any other examples of like something you wanted me to run, another change or something to do to one of these images before I move on? You want
Um,
to challenge me? Does anybody else have anything?
wait, we wanted to see just to throw in instead of a beanie, put a hat on.
Okay. All right. And then over here, so this is me just talking to ChatGPT instead of changing the prompt. And I could go back and just change the prompt also with ChatGPT, but that's the difference that, again, why I say sometimes people find that they like DALL-E a little better because you can kind of talk through the process with it. And I'll just say a gray baseball cap. Okay. It did not, we missed the mark there. It just says, now here's a man wearing a baseball cap. So I'm just going to hit the rerun and run it again. While I'm wanted to mention again, DALL-E you can access through Perplexity with the paid plan. You can access it through ChatGPT 4. Okay, we just got really weird with the cap there. And you can also access it through Bing Chat, which I'm hearing less and less people discuss Bing Chat lately. So I don't know, what's kind of changes is happening over there. But as far as I know, you can, I guess it's because they're calling it more Copilot now. You might be able to do some stuff free there and generate images. I just don't mess with it much because these other tools are, to me, more powerful. So it's still not getting it right. And so I could kind of argue with it. Um, I don't know. It's probably because in the actual prompt behind the scenes, it must be including this phrase instead of the yellow beanie. And that's probably why it's getting confused. So I'm going to go all the way to the top and just start over with a gray baseball cap and hit submit. And then let's see what we have here. Look at that. I like that one. It's kind of got the nice shot. Okay. So we finally hit it. We've got a cap on his head now. So that's good. Good example. Thank you, Carlos. That was a good one. Do we have any others that came up while we're going through this? If not, I'll just keep moving. Let's see. I want to pick one of these guys to start with. I kind of like this shot here.
That's
So
great.
I'll use him as an example. So the things I wanted to show is I can now kind of go in here and I have this whole profile here of options of stuff that I can do. And so um, let's kind of I'll walk through a little bit of this. If I do a very subtle strong, what it's going to do is just going to give me variants of this one, subtle variants. So it'll be slight changes to it or a strong change. And it is, if I'm really close, let's say there's just something odd or off, but I really like where it is, I may use some of these to kind of like slightly tweak it. I'm not going to run all these because it'll just take a long time, but I'm just going to kind of describe what they do. I'll use these from time to time. Maybe there's something off with the picture, something in the background, or some logo on the shirt that I was like, I don't want that there. Let me see if I just rerun a subtle variance, maybe it'll change it, or a strong variance, but keep it pretty similar. That's what that's for. Upscale is going to make it that higher resolution. Subtle is going to make it like literally identical. There's not going to be any changes. If anything, it will usually enhance it and make it even more detailed, like to the level of where I could really zoom in. I'm not going to be able to do it, on my web browser like this, but you could see, you know, you know, hairs on the edge of his nose or something. It's just like the fine-tuned detail. And then creative, it's similar to like vary. It's kind of doing like some slight variances to it while you're upscaling it. I don't use that often. So that one's a little different. And then remix, whoops, I didn't mean to go off my guy. Remix is just going to completely remix it again and go, I'm going to start off with a remix of subtle or strong. And it's kind of like a re-roll, kind of like you roll the dice again, what kind of chance you see how big of a variance I have between these guys. So if I did a strong variance, remix again, I'm gonna get kind of a completely new group of people in completely different settings. So if I didn't like this one at all, I could do that. If I did like this one and I just want to do some subtle changes, I could do that. Um, I know there's a lot to it, guys. Some of this is overkill, but as you get into it more, you kind of learn what it's doing. Pan is exactly what it says. It's going to pan up. So it's just going to add, like if I pan up, it's going to draw the rest of this and it's going to add about, I'd say 50% more to the image in any direction that you want. And this is a fantastic tool, especially like, let's say I needed this for some kind of marketing ad, or something like that. I could take, and I needed some space over here. Carlos and I have done this quite a bit when we've needed something. Like here's an example of one where there's like a little bit of blank space over here where I might want to put some writing, but I want more wall over here. I could pan over and it's going to add, almost like 50% more space over there. But one of these, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the 2x zoom out, which is exactly what that's going to do. So it's going to add all the way around. It's going to just zoom out on this photo, and you can do 1x, 2x, and you can even hit this little adjustment here and kind of tweak. I don't think you can go over 2. I haven't seen this yet. Guys, they are changing this all the time. Wow, it says 3. I don't know if that really works, but every time I get in here, Midjourney rolls out stuff like every week. So this thing is constantly changing and getting better and better. So there might be something every time I get in here, I stumble onto something new. Change aspect ratio. This is where it kind of lets you customize, and just drag around, which is really cool. Maybe you don't know the aspect ratios. You can kind of tweak it that way and go, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. And what it's going to do is it's going to redraw that white space there.
Deborah had a question about when you hit remix or any of this stuff, it's going to give you a new version. You can go back to the original
Yes.
version.
Yep. And I'll do one. I'll do a remix here because I wanted you to see that remix is actually going to put the prompt back up here. And by remixing it, it's going to kind of inject the image. And what this does is it's saying, I like this, but I want to remix, I want to do something different to it. So this is where I could try and like maybe change the color of his cap or something. Now I will let you know when you remix, because this image is referenced, sometimes it has a lot of strength behind it. Like I would probably, this wouldn't be the best example because I'd probably just redo my prompt and change the color, but I'll just do this for kicks and giggles and see if it works. I'll do blue, baseball cap, and run it again. And so those are running. I'll go up to those in a second. I wanted to finish getting through these. And then this is just a rerun. I, I I don't use this very often, very region. This one is very, very, very good. I will show that in a second. Let's come back to very region. And then use the image, use the style, use the prompt. So yeah, sorry, we're getting a little more advanced than I wanted to. But using the image, like if I wanted to pull the image up here and use it, I'm going to get into all this stuff in future ones. I really didn't even mean to get too into this. I just kind of wanted to show you guys just how many options are available here. Um, and then style is going to insert with style, and that's these little icons here. This is style, this is character reference, and this is image reference. And then prompt is just going to put the prompt back up there for you. So um, I just want to say, guys, they have come a super long way in the last, like I would say 6 months with Midjourney Alpha. I've been kind of alpha beta testing this for the last 6 months, and it is incredible like how far they've gotten beyond using this stuff in Discord. And so this is really, really nice. And I think it makes it much easier and much less complicated than having to put all this stuff in manually. Because everything that I just showed you, I know how to do with commands, writing them out, and it's just a much longer learning curve. So everyone, if you're just starting out with this, it might seem a little bit overwhelming, but they're just buttons that you have to press now versus writing commands out. But it has the detail behind the scenes where you can really tweak it. So here's a zoom out. So we went from this guy to kind of a full shot, and you can see like, it drew the rest of the wall, the rest of his hat, and it looks great. So it's really neat. And I could zoom out like this, and then I could pan off to the side. I'll run one of those just so you guys can see that. So I'm going to add over here to the right, and it should just really add wall since there's not any other objects on there. Sometimes they'll add other things, but most of the time it does a pretty good job. When they first rolled this out, sometimes you'd get like another person would pop up, which was kind of weird. You never know. And then here's another zoom. I think that's where I did the 1.5. So this is regular. This is 2.0 zoom. and this is 1.5 zoom. And then this is where I did a remix because you were asking. And just like you said, I think what you were referencing is like, is your other image still there? Yes. All these are still in here. And you have access to do whatever you want with them. I could still go back to it and go, none of those worked what I wanted. I want to go back here and just, I want to vary it or upscale it. Maybe I'm happy with it. Um, and then here's some other versions that I did. Here's where I panned off to the right. That's done now. So yeah, I've got this nice space. So yes, we could do that in Photoshop. Um, definitely, as some of you may know. But wow, it does a great job. If you need a wall and you just need a wall background, and you could, you say, concrete, black painted wall, um, I don't know, and you make a background, then you can make a backdrop, and then you can extend it further and make it wider or taller. It's just there's a lot of different things you can do, and this really is it's a tool, Carlos. I kind of do like you've said, it's a tool, especially for artists or people out there that we've never had access to before, to kind of add on to tools like Photoshop and other things that we have. I know that Photoshop is doing generative fill and some other things that it can do already
Yeah.
that's pretty powerful. I do think from what I've seen, Midjourney is still a little bit ahead of it from some of the quality levels. All right, I've been going a little while and I want to jump back into the deck because I have quite a few things I wanted to cover. And I'm going to do some more prompts in a minute, but let's see. Let me go back into slideshow mode. Any other questions, Carlos, before I move quickly?
Oh, Deborah had one. Okay, she's asking about use cases for Midjourney. Can these photos be used commercially? Uh, Absolutely, yes.
Yep.
On personal websites, yes. When I first got into Midjourney, I started to ask those same questions, like, hey, and this goes back to a conversation earlier today that we were talking about, like images, using them. When you use Shutterstock, it's out there. You know, a photographer did it. Great footage. You go out there, but Midjourney is you're kind of prompting and you're kind of saying what you want.
Hmm.
So you're almost like a photographer if you
Hmm.
know how to prompt it and say, hey, I need it on a white background. This he or she needs to be wearing, a white blouse or something like that. So you have more control to test things if you wanted to do that, but it's so powerful you could use it on an ad like right away. Like, why wouldn't you put it on your website or anything like that? So the answer quickly, yes, and it's your design. It's your
Hmm.
that's what you wanted to do to tell that story or that message or use it for an ad or anything like that. So
Yeah, it's good feedback. I think, probably more than 9 months now, all the work I've been doing for clients or where I've worked, um, I no longer go to any site to pull images for stock imagery because I find that, because typically, you think about it, a lot of times you're digging around for sometimes a very long time, trying to pull an image that you want, and you're stuck with whatever's available for based on what you search for and what you're able to find. Now I can kind of go out, and if it is just like a stock image that I need, I'm able to kind of, go make that image. And I've been using it since version 5.2 of Midjourney. So, and I would say, 6.0 is so much better. And I've gone back to like redo some older images that I had out there where they did look a little bit more, I'll call it plasticky, like this, where you could kind of, if you looked at it close enough, you'd be like, something's not right about that. Where it's starting to really look a lot more rich. And this is just showing the evolution of Midjourney. From here on out, I'll just talk about more about Midjourney and not talk as much about DALL-E right now. Um, so I ran all of these just a few days ago, just to give some examples of like the versions. It still lets you access the older versions. So I used the same prompt and then ran it all the way through to kind of show you. And it's the big difference was 3 to 4, which was in 2022. And then this is really the time, it was like right when V5 was kind of coming out is when I started using Midjourney, because everything prior to that, when V4 was out and even V5, that was still the issue last year where all the time, if a hand was in the shot, I mean, it was useless. I mean, every time, they'd have a thumbs over here. There's 6 fingers, there's 10 fingers on one hand, or an arm coming out of the shoulder, an extra arm or an extra, and it just each version that came out, I can't remember if it's five, I think it was 5.1, they really fixed the hands. And then 5.2, they extra appendages like an extra leg or an extra arm and things like that started to get really figured out a lot better. And now 6.0 has been this level of detail of just facial features and stuff like that that is I've just unbelievably a whole nother level of where these other versions were. So, and you can kind of see the timeline. That's why I wanted to put these in here. It's not been that long, and you see how fast it's moved. And based on this date here of December, I think we'll definitely see something anytime between now and probably June or July. Probably like a 6.1 or 6.2 or something like that that'll come out. So I want to jump into a little bit about just while I've got a little bit of time left. Yep, I'll try to move quickly here, but I wanted to talk about how you want to use some tips on text to image. Like the example of that gentleman I had a minute ago, photography portrait, extreme close up. If you haven't been doing this, you might look at that and go, "Hey, that's a lot of detail. I don't really I don't know how to do that." You can use, once you practice a little bit more, you'll get more comfortable, like kind of set it, what is the setting that you want to have? Is it, a person sitting inside their house? Is it sitting outdoors? Is it under a tree? Is it on the edge of a mountain? Is it hiking? Are they fishing? What are they doing? Where are they at? What time of day is it? Just think about the scene a little bit and talk about that. You don't have to give it a ton of detail. They don't have to be this short. You can just say, um, a 45-year-old man and just prompt it, but it's just going to be very random with like where he is, what he's doing. And so you need to kind of narrow that down. And so this is very specific. Is it going to know the difference between a 42-year-old and a 45? No, it's not. Is it perfect? No, it's not. You could kind of put 35 and 45 and 55 and probably not always tell the difference. So just know that there's some things like that that aren't perfect. But this is the kind of detail you want to be thinking about. There definitely is a big difference if you say a a 20-year-old man and a 45-year-old man. It's going to be a very different look. So um, and you can see like sharp focus. You don't always have to say that. Sometimes that'll help. That's kind of going to put it like what's like it's shot with a 50 mm lens sometimes. You can say some things like that. I find that it's not always easy to control whether or not the background is blurred out or it's kind of shot with like a special lens. You'll see some prompts like that. They kind of did away with that with version 6. Where there's not as good a level of control with that. I don't know if things like that will come back in the future. It may. I expect those to be more advanced features later. Here's another example prompt. A red-haired businesswoman on her laptop in a coffee shop. She's well-dressed, wearing black slacks, large window behind her with the New York streets outside. The sun is setting. So I'm trying to set the stage of like it's nighttime, it's in the evening, she's in a coffee shop, she's working on her laptop. So I'm trying to set the stage. So I try to like picture what I'm looking for, and then I just describe it the best you
Mm.
can. And the more you do it, you get a little more comfortable with it, and you'll find that you will get a little closer to what you're looking for. Sometimes it helps to go get inspiration. You can go to Midjourney and browse and see all the crazy stuff that people are making all the time, and you can get some inspiration there to kind of learn how to prompt. And here's a more advanced version. But I want to, this woman is in her home. She's with her cat. It's a cozy, well decorated. It's, describing she's wearing a white top and blue jeans. She's on the floor, legs are crossed. She's leaning forward with a soft smile. She's looking at her cat. Just all these very, very detailed. This is a little much. I will say, I'll give you a couple tips. You can do some things like I'm going to show inspiration images next week and the power of that. This week, I really am sticking more to text to image prompts. Um, but if you really want to get the power out of Midjourney, it's using images. It's using images that already exist, and they could be images that were created in Midjourney with AI, or it could be real images that you're referencing to say, I want an image like this in this kind of scene. So if you already have a scene that you can reference out there, that's the stuff I'll show in future weeks. But this is the how you do it just with text. And so let's jump out before time runs out. Any other questions popping up, Carlos? I'm going to try to move.
No, not right yet.
Okay.
It's just
We're gonna,
stuff.
all right. We're going to move pretty quick. I'm going to start running all these prompts and we'll see what happens. So I don't know what's going to happen because I haven't run all of these yet. So I'm excited to see a few of these. Um, let's see. I think I got about 8 here I'm going to run. And so this is where I did a multi-tab. So I just ran a bunch of tabs open. And let's go see. The first one I did, and I'll describe what they are as we start. I wanted to let them start going. Okay. The first one that's coming up, this one's kind of crazy. A fried egg like a daisy flower bud in a forest. So I wanted to show a couple things that are just a little out there, just so you guys could see. Um, Oops, it's jumping around on me. Kind of the crazy things you did. This didn't do exactly what I wanted. I played with this a couple weeks ago, and it actually showed the egg as the flower bud, instead of like up here where the flower is, which was kind of neat. But you can see that just the level of like what Midjourney can do, which is really neat, with like outdoor stuff, like the detail of the moss and this fried egg in a weird environment. So those are some of the things that I think is really cool with AI. It can do whatever your imagination can think up, and that's one of the things that I think is the most fun about it. And I think people who are more creative than I am are going to be able to just take this to another level that are really going to amaze us in the future because that's the part that I think is really fun with it. So here's this businesswoman working on her laptop in a coffee shop. I said red hair. She's dressed nice. She's got a window behind her, and the sun is setting. Like this one really did a good job. But I mean, even look at the detail of the streaks on the glass and just a very, very neat setting. Um, so let's say you didn't want these glasses on the table. Um, you can use vary region, and this is the stuff that really gets powerful. And I could highlight this area right here. Um, and I can say remove object and get the glasses off the table. Job submitted. So let's see how that does. There's a few, sometimes that works. Fairy region is really neat. There's a lot of like shadowing and stuff going on here. So I'm just not sure if it's going to work or not, but I just wanted to share that a little sneak peek of that tool and how neat that is. Um, yeah, this is really cool. There's like snow outside. I didn't think about that, the time or like where. There she is again, and then this one. So really neat. And then happy woman with gray hair, wearing a black t-shirt, studio setting, flat background. So great images here. Just a basic portrait. This was kind of funny one. A photo of a man busting out of a roof, holding up a sign that says help. I wanted to kind of show this one looks like a zombie, so that didn't turn out. Oh man, that's funny. He does need help. So I just wanted to show a few crazy things that you could do. You can do words if you just put it in quotes, and you could say, you could put text on people's shirts. You can put text, so you can say they're holding a sign. I've put text on cups before, so a lot of neat things there. Whoops, I must have ran this one twice. I didn't mean to. Oh, here's a one, a photograph of an adorable kitten wearing a vibrant red and blue superhero outfit, complete with a tiny cape fluttering in the wind. He's standing on the edge of a skyscraper.
That was for me. That's one of my clients. So
Carlos wanted me to do this the other day, and I had a lot of fun with it. I had to show this one off again because it was just it was adorable.
yeah,
So another neat one where you just take something and put it in a place that just is different. A close-up portrait of a man, buzz haircut, brown hair, blue eyes, black background. He's very serious looking here. And here's another fun one. Uh, a full body frogman wearing a baseball cap and sunglasses, wearing a shirt that says "I love cats." I don't know why the frog loves cats, but he does. And high energy lighting, vivid Pixar. I said Pixar style. So you can use styles that sometimes works. Um, there's a lot of detail behind that, but anyway. So yeah, he's pretty cool. I like his jeans. Very cool. Um, and then here's
yeah.
one. This one's interesting. It gave me more than just gave
Photography.
me some art style, which is interesting. A woman with a cat, warmly lit room. The
Yeah.
woman is dressed.
You can totally see a use case with a client that if, I have a cat business client that we can dream up some shots here to use for ads, or even just say, I'm trying to get them to do an animated video. So we want to do something animated. So the use case can just keep going and keep going, but you can test it. You can show it right here and see how it feels, and drop their logo in there
Wow.
somewhere. But it's a
All right,
lot of
guys, look at this.
there it is. Yeah,
Where'd those glasses go? It kept the shadowing and everything. Like I don't even know where it was. So each and it gave a couple of different versions. So this one it like added a maybe a remote or something. It put something else there instead. This one re-added more of the shadowing from the plant, which is interesting. So yeah, really cool the power of like what you can do with that. So I wanted to kind of just show off a bunch of prompts real quick so you guys could just see just kind of the variances of the kind of stuff that you can do and how cool it is. Um, Next up is a cheat sheet. So let me jump into that real quick. So, oh, I didn't show a lot of that. I need to go back for a second. Let me exit full screen for a second. When I was in some of these prompts, I wanted you to see that I already put in it's these style raw. Let me use this prompt. Okay, here we go. Where it says stylize, style raw, chaos 7. So these are some strong controls which are all done here, some of the aesthetics. But one of the things of alpha is there's a lot more control that you have capability of than a Midjourney gives, or than it's showing right here. And that's what I wanted to showcase is that you can kind of control aspects of the image a lot more of like, and this is the more advanced side of it where most of what I was doing here, all these examples that I'm showing you, you don't have to really understand any of those at all. And so I'm kind of getting a little more advanced here. So I want to just preface that so I don't scare anybody away. Um, but aspect ratio is what I was showing before. This is the command you can use to kind of control that very precisely. Because you remember before there was a slider and you were kind of stuck to certain parameters, but you can be as precise as saying a 1:9 ratio versus just a 16:9. You could say a 9:16. Maybe I want to make an iPhone background or something like that. So you can be really specific with the aspect ratio you want to control, which is awesome. Chaos is one of my favorites. I love chaos. Um, Chaos is used for making a variety of image style. Let's say, like when I was doing the image of the frog, and he had that shirt on. Maybe every time I reran it and reran it just to try to get a certain pose or a certain option, I may increase the chaos to dash dash C 25. And what it does is it's going to cause more variety where you noticed or even like it's a little more noticeable when you saw some of the people where all those people like the guy with the shaved head, he he looked like almost like the same person. If I wanted to add more variety to it, that's one of the things that chaos can really do. It just mixes it up. It's like shuffling the deck and versus making all the images be very similar when you get four, it kind of makes it where they all have a lot more variance within each other. And sometimes when I'm really struggling with a prompt or starting out, I'll add more chaos at the beginning and then I'll pull that back to zero or like a small number of just three or four. So that's one of my favorite is chaos. I don't use weird much. It is exactly what it says. If you want things to get weird, use weird. It just gets odd. Maybe for some creative stuff or very artistic styles, you can do some amazing things with the weird prompt, but I don't use it often. There's not a lot of control. It's kind of like taking control out of your hands. Style raw is one of my favorite. I do the raw command anytime I'm making images that are for stock photography. If I want a real life person, I think the raw really gives a little bit more a feel there. That's one of the reasons why I use it. And then I don't use the no prompt. Maybe if there's an object that keeps appearing, like maybe you don't want their hands in the photo, you want them behind their back or something. You can say no hands, or I never have good success with it. Quality, that's not really used anymore. Stylize is, but that's a little bit more advanced. Typically by default, it's going to be 750. I usually have, if you want the text that you're typing to give a lot of the control, I will keep that number pretty low, like in the 100 or 200. We won't get into style reference or style weight today. Video doesn't do, that's not a command that really works yet. And then I don't do these others. These are not used very often. So that's kind of a highlight of that. All right. So that kind of wraps up like most of what we're going to show today with Midjourney. I hope I didn't go too fast with some of that. I was trying to get through a lot of the basics really quickly so we can start to get in a little more advanced in future weeks. But very excited to kind of show next week where we take using some images that already exist and using them as reference to kind of create kind of images versus having to come up with text prompts to make them. And it really starts to give you a lot more control because if you already have an image out there, it can really control the scene a lot better of how it appears. And then Carlos, I think, is going to chat a little bit about Pi and GPT. We have a guest speaker on April 12th, which I'm very, very excited about. Avi Varma, who's going to be speaking. And then 19th, I'm going to come back and start to show some Midjourney stuff on style reference and character reference. Anything else, Carlos, that you wanted to?
No, just fill out the survey. We like to hear any kind of feedback that we can make this better or hit on, more topics of what you guys are doing out there. So just talk to us. And then also we started a YouTube channel. So it's called kaleidoscope.ai. So we're putting all of these sessions on there and we're breaking them up, giving you the full one, but then do all these breakouts. So there's a link there. I will copy that over to this chat right now.
Yeah, send the survey out in the chat and then also put a link to the YouTube. And we will send those out each week. Hopefully all of you on the call saw the new email that we drafted up this week. That's how we'll be communicating a little better going forward. And definitely looking forward to that and would love feedback or any questions about what we've been covering or things that you'd like to see upcoming. Any questions or feedback that anybody has thus far while we still have a couple minutes that we didn't that you guys would like to see in the future or anything like that?
You know what, Nathan, I've been over on my other monitor here trying to sign up for Midjourney.
Mm-hmm.
it's taking me nowhere. I went to the site and I don't know if I'm just clicking the wrong buttons, but it says get your Midjourney membership. I'm clicking that. Then it says join the beta. I click that and it goes nowhere.
Join the beta.
The screen doesn't change at all.
Oh,
It's
I think
probably downloaded this.
join the beta launches Discord is probably why.
Well, actually, I was in Discord and that's where it said the first one brought me to Discord, and
Uh,
then the first step is get your Midjourney membership. So from there I click that and it opens up a screen that says join beta or log in. Well, I can't log in because I don't have an account yet. So I hit join beta. The button clicks, but nothing happens.
okay. I'll
So
I'll look
I'll
into that.
play with that, but
Yeah. I'll look into that. I know, like I said, I know that the difficulty of getting on board with Discord being the means of how they're doing it right now, it does get add an extra layer of complexity, and it's going to be a whole lot better when they really roll out this alpha piece that I was demoing today, full board. Um,
Well, maybe that's something, Nathan, we can do next week to do like a quick training on how to get on Discord.
yeah, that's good. That's a good call too. Yeah, we could do that. Yep.
I
Awesome.
was confused at the very beginning whenever I joined, but
yeah, I
I'm
was
glad
kind of
they're doing
surprised when it opened up Discord, but it didn't open it up with my Discord account. I've got an account, I joined another Discord, so I know I've got an account there, but it just opens up like a fresh new Discord that gives me a new username. So,
That's interesting. Yeah, Deborah, I might message you on. I think I've got you on LinkedIn or via
yeah,
email. No?
at your convenience.
Okay.
Because I will really just be playing with it. But you have, really given me a lot of information to work with today, and so it's like, ooh, this looks like it could be fun.
Yeah,
Oh
oh,
yeah.
that's awesome. That's fantastic.
Oh
Awesome.
yeah.
Okay. Well, cool. I don't think we had anything else, Carlos. So thanks,
No.
everybody.
Thank you. See you next week.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for joining, everyone.